When you hear someone say, the divine feminine needs to act first for reunion to happen, it might sound like pressure. Like, why me? Why do I have to make the first move? Shouldn't this journey be equal? I hear you. But let's take a step back and really understand what this means. This isn't about chasing. It's not about begging. It's not about lowering your worth or going back to the old cycles that drained you before. Acting first doesn't mean you call them up crying or send a bunch of messages trying to convince them you're meant to be. It's not about that at all. What we're talking about is alignment, energy, stepping into the version of yourself that calls union forward, not through force, but through power. There's a big difference between acting from fear and acting from strength. When we say the divine feminine must act first, it's not because you're the one who cares more. It's because you are the one connected to the heart of this connection in a way that gives you the ability to shift things. You feel the depth of it. You understand it at a soul level. And because of that, you are in a position to lead energetically. That leadership doesn't always look like physical action. Sometimes it does, but a lot of the time it starts internally. It's about creating space for union, clearing out resistance, and setting the tone for the energy between you. You can't sit back and wait for everything to change while holding on to fear or resentment. You can't wait for them to wake up if you're still asleep in your own patterns. So what does acting first really mean? It means stepping into the role you were designed to play in this connection. Not as a chaser, not as a fixer, but as someone who stands in their power and moves things forward in the right way. Today, I'm going to break this down in a way that makes sense. We'll look at why this is important, what it really means, and how you can do it without losing yourself. There are a few key areas we need to talk about: your energy, your healing, your communication, your boundaries, and your ability to trust the process. Each one matters because acting first isn't about one big move. It's about consistent steps that bring everything into alignment. Let's get into it. Before we talk about the how, we need to understand the why. Why is it usually the divine feminine who acts first when it comes to reunion? Here's the truth. In most twin flame dynamics, the feminine is the heart energy of the connection. She's the emotional center. She's the one who feels everything deeply, often long before the masculine even realizes what's happening. Because of that, she's naturally more awake to the spiritual side of the journey. She sees the bigger picture. She feels the pull, the mission, the lessons. And because she's more aware, she tends to move through her healing earlier. She starts breaking old patterns before the masculine does. That awareness gives her the ability to create shifts in the connection, but it also comes with responsibility. If you wait for them to figure everything out first, you could be waiting for a long time. Not because they don't love you, but because their role is different. The masculine energy isn't about stability and structure. They ground the connection. But for them to do that, they often need time to feel safe, to feel ready. And guess who helps create that sense of safety? You. When you lead with love, not fear, you send out a vibration that says, it's okay to come closer. It's safe now. But if you're sitting in bitterness, waiting for them to apologize or prove something, the energy stays blocked. Acting first clears that block. It says, I'm willing to open the door, not just sit behind it. But don't confuse this with self-sacrifice. Acting first isn't about losing your boundaries or putting yourself last. It's about being proactive in the areas you can control: your energy, your actions, your choices. When you do that, everything else starts to shift. Here's something most people miss. Acting first doesn't always mean sending that text or making that phone call. It starts way before that, with you. If you're holding on to resentment, fear, or a story that says, they hurt me, they need to fix this, you're keeping union away without realizing it. That energy creates walls. It creates distance. So the first step in acting first is clearing that. Ask yourself, what am I still carrying? What old wounds are still running the show? Do I still feel unworthy of love? Do I still believe they'll leave me again? These thoughts shape your energy, and your energy shapes the connection. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but every step counts. Journaling can help. Meditation can help. Even simple things like affirmations, saying to yourself, I am worthy of love. I am safe to receive love. start shifting your frequency. The more you step into peace, the more your twin feels that on a soul level. When you act first by healing, you take back your power. You stop waiting for someone else to make you feel whole. And that's magnetic. That's the kind of energy that makes reunion possible, because you're no longer coming from need, you're coming from wholeness. Let's be honest, pride is a big block in twin flame journeys. You might be thinking, why should I be the one to act first? They left, they ran, they hurt me. And I get it. You're human. You have feelings. But ego and love can't lead at the same time. You have to choose one. When you choose love, you're not saying what happened was okay. You're not excusing bad behavior. You're simply refusing to let ego keep you stuck. Ego wants to be right. Love wants to be free. Acting first is about letting love lead, even when it feels scary. Sometimes that looks like forgiving in silence. Sometimes it looks like sending a simple message without expectations. Sometimes it looks like opening your heart in prayer and saying, I'm ready for this union when the time is right. None of those things make you weak. They make you powerful because they keep you aligned with what you truly want. If you let ego win, you'll stay in the same cycle. Silence, distance, waiting. Acting first breaks that cycle. It creates movement where there was none. Now let's talk about physical action, because there's a point where energy work isn't enough. Sometimes you do need to reach out, but timing and intention matter. Don't act from fear or desperation. If you're sending a message just because you're lonely or scared, they'll forget you. That energy will come through. They'll feel it. Before you reach out, ask yourself, am I calm? Am I clear? Am I ready to accept any outcome without falling apart? If the answer is yes, then you're in the right space. Keep it simple. Don't pour your whole heart out in one message. Don't demand answers. Just open the door. A simple hi, hope you're doing well can create space for more. Acting first isn't about forcing a reunion in one conversation. It's about creating an opening for the energy to flow again. And here's the thing. Don't attach to the response. If they reply, great. If they don't, that's okay too. You've still shifted something by showing love without expectation. That's what creates alignment. This part is so important because a lot of people confuse acting first with giving up their power. Acting first doesn't mean you forget everything you've learned on this journey. It doesn't mean you lower your standards or allow the same painful patterns to happen again. And it definitely doesn't mean you start chasing and sacrificing your own happiness just to keep the connection alive. Love doesn't require you to abandon yourself. If it feels like you have to break yourself down to have it, that's not love. That's fear. So before you take any action, you need to get clear on your boundaries. Ask yourself, what am I okay with? What am I not okay with? These answers will guide you. For example, if you reach out and they're cold or distant, respect that and pull back. Don't take it as a rejection of your worth. It's simply where they are right now. And if they're not ready, pushing harder won't help. It will only drain you. Boundaries give you the strength to know when to act and when to step back without resentment. If you decide to forgive them, do it with a full heart. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It means choosing peace over pain. But forgiveness also comes with wisdom. Don't allow the same cycles to repeat. If they return but still show the same unhealthy behaviors, you have to protect your energy. Love isn't just about saying yes. Sometimes love is saying no because you value yourself enough to not settle for less than a healthy connection. Think of boundaries like doors with locks. You can open the door for someone, but that doesn't mean they have free access to everything. They come in with respect, or they don't come in at all. Acting first is powerful, but only when it's combined with self-respect. That balance is what keeps you strong and aligned. If you forget your boundaries, you risk falling back into old patterns, overgiving, overcompensating, losing your identity. That's not what union is about. True union happens when both souls are whole, not when one person carries the entire weight of the connection. So act with love, yes, but never forget the love you owe yourself. That's what will keep you from losing yourself in this journey. Now let's talk about the part that challenges almost everyone: trust. Acting first doesn't mean everything will change overnight. You might take a step and see no response at first. You might forgive and feel like nothing happened. And in that moment, your mind will start questioning, did I do the wrong thing? Did I mess up? Should I have stayed silent? Here's the truth. Just because you can't see the shift yet doesn't mean it isn't happening. Energy moves before the physical does. The work you do in love, whether that's healing yourself, sending a message, or simply softening your heart, creates ripples that eventually reach your twin. It's not instant, but it's real. You have to trust that every move you make from a place of love and strength is bringing union closer. It might not happen on your timeline, but it's happening in divine timing. And that's the hard part, letting go of control. We want results now, we want signs, we want proof. But the more you cling, the more you block the flow. So stop checking for signs every second. Stop overanalyzing their every move. Stop wondering if the silence means you failed. Trust that alignment works better than control. When you act from a pure place, you've already done your part. Let the rest unfold. And while you wait, don't put your life on hold. Use this time to keep growing, to keep loving yourself, to keep becoming the best version of you. That's not just a cliche, that's the key. When you focus on yourself instead of obsessing over the outcome, you create space for union to come in naturally. When you truly trust the process, union stops being a stressful if and becomes a peaceful when. You no longer need constant reassurance because you know your love, your growth, and your alignment are guiding this connection exactly where it's meant to go. That faith is what keeps you steady through the ups and downs. If there's one thing I want you to take away from all this, it's that acting first doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean you care more or that you're doing all the work. It means you understand your power and you're willing to use it in the right way. Union isn't about sitting on opposite ends waiting for the other person to make a move. It's about two souls meeting in the middle. And sometimes you have to take the first step toward that middle. Not because you're desperate, but because you're aligned. Because you've chosen love over fear. Remember, acting first doesn't always look the same. For some, it's a text. For others, it's a shift in energy, an act of forgiveness, or even a prayer spoken from the heart. Whatever form it takes, let it come from a place of peace, not pressure. And most importantly, don't lose yourself in the process. This journey is as much about union with your twin as it is about union with yourself. If you come out of this stronger, wiser, and more whole, you've already won, whether union happens today, tomorrow, or years from now. So breathe. Trust yourself. Trust the connection. And when you feel that nudge to act, don't fight it out of pride or fear. Move when love tells you to. That's how you lead. That's how you bring this connection back into harmony.